When you think about love, do you think about how you love yourself? And why or why isn't loving yourself important when it comes to finding the love of your life? This episode is all about learning to love yourself so you can find love that is lasting love. And I'm going to share lessons that I think everyone can learn from because I made lots of mistakes and it took me a very long time to find that lasting love. So if this is you, you're still out for the search, or even if you're someone who needs to love yourself a little bit more, grab a pen and paper. I think you'll like this one. Have you ever felt held back by self-doubt, whether it's speaking up in a meeting or connecting with others or simply just believing in your own worth? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm Heather Edwards, Master Certified Life Coach, and my goal is to empower you to step into your most authentic, confident self. Here, you're going to discover practical strategies and powerful insights to help you improve your communication, deepen those relationships, and elevate your self-esteem. And each week, I'm going to guide you through some actionable tips and mindset shifts that are specifically designed to help you break free from fear, show up boldly in every area of your life, and build crazy confidence. Are you ready to stop hiding in the shadows, playing small, and avoiding the spotlight? Grab your favorite pen and a notebook, and let's get to it. When I was younger, all I could think about was getting married and starting a family. I did have a really high drive. I had a lot of curiosity about life, and I spent a ton of time trying to find life's purpose or what was I supposed to do to kind of help the world, because I always had this urge to help other people, and I for sure wanted to contribute to making the world a better place. Not that I believed that it wasn't a great place, but I always felt that there were so many people who needed a helping hand, and I always wanted to figure out how I could be part of that help. As I bounced around through life, I remember often feeling super carefree and wanting to explore the world. Travel and experiences were absolutely at the top of my list. My faith was important to me, and I always searched for someone who would want to pursue things like this, like faith and travel and enjoying life and new adventures, really. In the US, getting married from a cultural standpoint, it's important. And when you aren't married by a certain age, you start getting questioned. And if you aren't careful, you start to be left out while your married friends and families start their own families. Not on purpose. Couples just tend to gravitate to spending time with other couples. And obviously, when they start having kids, they spend time with other people with children. So little by little, as I moved through my 20s and 30s, I became less and less involved with my most beloved friends. And even some of my family members, cousins got married and moved off and things like that. So not because they didn't love me and care about me, but because they had other things to focus on. I remember having people ask me questions like, why can't you get anyone to marry you? Which, by the way, is not appropriate. Don't ever ask anybody that question. As if I wasn't able to conquer someone or beat them with a broom into submission. And all I can think of when I think of that question is not Fruity Pebbles, but the cartoon where she takes her caveman husband with the big club in her hand and like drags him down the cave. I don't know. Very bizarre. But I remember even so much so that my parents were at one point approached for an arranged marriage with me with a dear friend of mine who was losing his way. He was into drugs and alcohol, and he did eventually go to prison. But his parents had approached my parents and asked them if they would be interested for some sum of money of marrying me off to him because I could potentially straighten him out. And by the way, my parents did not disclose this to me until much later in life. The point here is that you could say marriage is in some ways seen as the solution to so many problems, or at the very least, a solution to any sane woman would want to have in her life. And I'll admit, I wanted that for myself too. I wanted love. I wanted passion. I wanted to be married and start a family, all the things. Sometimes too much I wanted it. I did eventually, when I was 40, get married, and it wasn't until then in being able to look back that I could see that I just had some really difficult years of feeling sad and lonely and obviously confused and certainly feeling as if I would never find my lasting love. If you were that person, I want you to maybe learn from my mistakes, because my mistakes, although I don't know that they were necessarily mistakes, but some lessons that I learned along the way that might help you if this is you now. But if you are a woman who is searching for your lasting love, I want to share how I believe I was able to finally find that man I would call my husband, and what are the little things that I did along the way to help me do just that. And number one, I'll have to say this: I got to know myself really well. I worked on becoming the best version of me. So yes, you hear me say this all the time with confidence building here at the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. It's always about becoming the best version of you. I don't think that you have to be better than anyone else. You don't need to be a better you, but becoming the best version of you is a contract or a way for you to give back to the world. We all have something to offer. We all are important. But if we do not become the best version of ourselves, we never see the full value that we can actually become. But some of the things that I did when I was getting to know myself really well and working on becoming my best version is just cooking healthy for myself, working out, jogging, taking classes, trying out new things, going to travel here and there. I went to church and enjoyed other Christians and people I enjoyed mingling with or hanging out with. I just got to know myself and what I liked and what I enjoyed. So that is number one. If you're constantly doing what everyone else wants to do, you really don't know what you enjoy, what brings you joy, and what makes you whole. The second thing is, I think this was should have been my first thing to say maybe, but I made peace with it may never happen for me, at least not how I imagined it. So once I came to that place, that I was just good no matter what happened. If I found a husband, if I had lasting love, I decided that I knew my worth. I didn't need a husband. God made me and he doesn't make mistakes. So I knew he had a plan for me, even if it wasn't for me to be married and have a family. That place that I finally got to was probably the most confidence building thing I ever used, because it was very reassuring to me. I stopped being desperate at meeting people. I stopped trying to go on dates all the time. I started actually doing what is number 3. I started taking myself out on dates and treating myself in ways that I believed that lasting love person would be treating me if I was in that relationship. This helped me get more comfortable with the idea that I might not find somebody. I might not find somebody to take me on dates. So why deprive myself of dates? So for about a 3-month period, I went out every Friday night. I went to a local place that's just a grocery store called Central Market, and I would grab food at their little market, and they would have live bands, and I would just listen to the live band. And then I would go, after I had my meal and listened to the live band, I would go down the block. You literally could walk in the parking lot and go down to the movie theater. Dinner, date, live music, and movie. And that was great. I enjoyed it. It was peaceful, and newsflash, if you go to movies by yourself, you get to watch what you want to watch. I laugh because that's silly, but it is true. I got to watch the things that I wanted to watch and enjoy it, and I really enjoyed that time. The other thing is, on Saturday nights, I would go out dancing. There was a local hangout here in Austin called Broken Spoke, which is still here, but it's getting squeezed out. I would meet new people, just dance and have a good time, and there were lots of regulars, so it wasn't creepy. I never felt weird there or anything. It just liked to country dance, and so I did that and hung out. Then there were other times that I did activities that I wanted to do that normally you might do on a date, but I just did them alone. One of my favorites was going out to the lake in Austin, and there was a viewing of Jaws, the movie, through Alamo Drafthouse, if you're familiar with that. If not, it's just a movie theater that you can eat and do all kinds of fun things. They do different programs and one of them was this, where we had the actual movie on a huge screen that was floating in the lake. They had inner tubes for you to get into. They served shark soup before you got into your inner tube. And it was dark as they showed the movie, and they had divers, like scuba divers, underneath you. And they would grab people's feet, or they had a fin that would swim through. It was pretty fun. And I went by myself. I really didn't meet anybody there that night. I did talk to and scream with people that were around me in the inner tubes, but I had a blast. And to this day, it's one of my favorite times of going on a date with myself. So I will tell you that when you learn to date yourself and do the things that you love, you will have some of the best times ever. Of course, you have to be safe and, use some, be smart about what you're doing. But going on a date with yourself is certainly a very good way to get used to what you enjoy and what you want to do. And I believe it helps you teach yourself how you would want someone else to treat you. Number 4, I spent time getting closer to God. I would do daily Bible verses, quiet time. I had little journals that I would write in. And one of the things that I feel like this is important is that when you're clear on who God made you to be, it's much easier to see that someone else you pick for your lasting love, for getting married to, you can recognize them quicker. And what I love about this part is when I met my husband, we actually met online, and we first talked on the phone before we actually met in person. But the first night that we talked for almost 4 hours. And I remember that amount of time, it was really long, but it went really fast. And a significant amount of that time that we spent on the phone that first night was about family and about God and what that meant to us. And I remember thinking later on, without that conversation, without God being inserted into that, and without family being inserted to that conversation, I don't know that we would have moved forward to the next phone call. We actually ended up talking 2 or 3 more nights that week for 3 or 4 hours. That's all I think about. Getting close to God for me was important. And if I hadn't taken that time, because I wasn't there prior to this time in my life, I had kind of let that part of my life go for a while. And I think it was really important for me to finding my husband was this part, and finding that lasting love for my life was getting this part right. And that's getting closer to God. Number 5, which is in a close second to getting close to God, was falling in love with me again. A lot of times people think self-love is this like selfish, weird thing. And when people think that, I just think, oh, they've never been someone who has struggled with themselves. They've never had really rough things in their life that made them question their own self-worth. So I'll just say this. During this time, I knew it was important for myself to fall in love with me again. I'll have to admit, when I found myself at 38 single, I was just a shell of who I was before that. And I was definitely a shell of who I really wanted to be. I had lost myself in that past relationship, and it was a very long and difficult relationship in a lot of ways. The person that I was with during that time in my life didn't really have a lot of respect for me. But what I realized as I look back is that I didn't respect myself very much. I can see now how that person kind of didn't have a good guidance to know how to treat me, because I didn't treat myself very well. I don't blame that person now. I look back and that relationship wasn't the one I was supposed to be in long term. That's okay. I'm not proud of who I was during that time, but I also believe it molded me to be who I am now. At that time, I let so many of the things that mattered to me be pushed aside because I was really busy trying to make that other person happy with me so that that person would love me. But I can tell you with 100% certainty, if you are feeling the need to let go of any part of you to make someone else happy or make somebody else love you, you would be better off walking away. Now, sometimes we lose sight of who we are, and sometimes we just forget who we're made to be. But you can absolutely go back and get in touch with that person again. Even if you're married, if you're looking for help for that, if you're looking for a way to kind of recharge your batteries, get back in touch with who you are, reconnect with who you want to be, I help women do that. I help you find purpose again. I help reignite that fire and that passion you once had and you know you have, or maybe you have it and you don't know how to utilize it. I help people do that. I can help you. Book a coaching call so you can get to that point again. And you don't have to leave your marriage. You don't have to give up on your kids. You just have to get back in touch with you. And sometimes when we're busy taking care of other things, we forget. And it's okay. You can get back to that vivacious, fun, bold, audacious woman that you once were. And you can do it with very little work, but you have to actually do some work to get there. Then the next thing I'll just say is that for some of you, it just means you have to learn that compromise sometimes. If it's the interest of you and someone that you love, that is beautiful. When it's intentional and it's balanced, that works. But if you find yourself lowering standards, you find yourself kind of breaking moral boundaries, or you're simply being pushed into being someone you don't want to be, then let's chat. Let's figure out a way that you can get back on track and you're more aligned with your loving self and with who you really want to be. Let me tell you this. I think that a lifetime with somebody is a long time. Marriage isn't easy. It's hard. It takes a lot of compromise. It takes a lot of getting to know yourself, and it takes a lot of understanding in a way that is beyond comprehension sometimes. And taking the time to find a person that you'll be able to grow with and learn and respect differences and challenges is very important. If you've already done that and you are stuck or you're frustrated or whatever, you can get to a place where you feel better in that relationship. But if you're not there yet, you must know how to love yourself before you will be able to truly know if someone else is loving you the way you need to be loved. That actually goes with if you're in a relationship now already. You have to know how to love yourself first before anyone else can love you. If you're struggling with that, you have to fix that. You have to do something about it. The next thing that I will tell you is don't expect or need anyone else to fill your cup. I have learned that this is what God is there for. He gives you peace, joy, and completeness. No matter where you are, no matter what your status is, married or single, when you start looking outside of yourself, you're looking at other humans to fulfill needs inside of you. That is when you can get in trouble. That is when you become bitter or confused or disappointed because maybe the other person has another idea of what that looks like for them. You're going to need to take responsibility to fill your own cup, and what you share with your spouse or the person that you love, then if your cup is full and their cup is full, then what you're sharing is super, super extra special. I hope you learned something fun from this, because I think when I did some of the things that I did, I just did them wrong, and I did them in a way that wasn't supporting me in the way I needed to be supported. I'm going to review real quick these 6 ways that I think were very helpful for me to find a lasting love. 1, get to know yourself really well and work on becoming the best version of you. Number 2, make peace with the fact that it may not happen for you the way you have it imagined. Number 3, take yourself on dates and treat yourself in a way that you would expect to be treated if it was someone else there with you. Number 4, spend time getting closer to God. He can guide you and tell you what it is that you really need and really want. Number 5, fall in love with yourself. You have to fall in love with the good, bad, and the ugly, because you can't expect anyone else to do that unless you've done it already. Number 6, don't expect or need anyone else to fill up your cup. Fill up your cup first, and then what you have spilling over is where you're going to find your best relationships and the most lasting love that you can possibly find. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's kind of just one from my heart, but I think with Valentine's Day here this week and you are out there, maybe you're single, maybe somebody that you are with, or maybe you're even married and someone that you're with is disconnected from you right now. If you focus on you instead of focus on forcing someone else to be what you want them to be, I guarantee you it takes the pressure off the relationship. It helps you come more fully to the relationship. You're more interesting, you're more fun, you enjoy more of what each person has to offer you. So have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Love yourself and come back next week. I have a great interview that I'll be posting next week with my dear friend Stacy on leadership, and you won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It has been a blast. I would love for you to do me a huge favor and either go leave a rating or a review. And if you really love the podcast or you've learned anything at all, please pass it on to a friend or a family member that might enjoy the podcast as well. That's how I grow, and that's how I'm able to continue bringing you content. If you are interested in coaching, just go to thecrazyconfidencecoach.com. You can sign up for a free discovery call there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you next Tuesday so we can build our crazy confidence together. Love you big.